Hey YouTubers, it's Tony here from We Try Anything, channel likes trying anything so you don't have to. Today's video is going to be about this very car. I've had this Nissan Micra for 5 whole years, 5 years believe it or not. And what I thought I'd do is just produce a video just talking about what it's like to own this Nissan Micra over the 5 years that I've owned it, and that'll include the reliability, that'll include the kind of some of the costs associated with it, including what it's been like to insure, to tax, etc. And also I'll talk about some of the costs incurred or give you an idea of what's gone wrong with this car over the 5 years that I've had it. So why don't we dig in and find out a little bit more what it's like to own the Nissan Micra over the 5 years.
So the first thing to quickly talk about is how reliable this car's been, because I would imagine that would probably be the first thing you'd be looking to, find out a bit more about when looking to purchase a car of this type. I've got to say, over the 5 years that I've owned it, it has been pretty reliable. I bought this car when it was about 44,000 miles. So I've got to be honest with you, I had the added advantage. It was quite a low mileage vehicle. I paid about £3 grand at the time. So in 2019, I got a decent price for this car, or I paid a decent price for this car. And it was serviced by a Honda dealer as well. It had full service history, and I've kept up with their servicing. But what I will say, it has been pretty reliable. The only things that have gone on it have been mainly suspension, and because of suspension, obviously tyre wear, so I've had to change the tyres a few times. On the back as well, I've had tyre wear on there, so I've had to change the tyres there. Also the boot switch went on it, which is a common thing with Micras, and I got a quote for £120 from Nissan, and that was a big nah, I'm not paying that. So I went and bought a part of eBay, and I managed to fit it myself. Took an hour or two, took some fittings off on the inside, fitted it myself, and it works to this day. And that was about a year and a half ago I did that. The other thing has been the wiper linkage. As you can see, the wipers are working merrily away now. The wiper linkage, again, common to the Micra, and they did go on this car. They really did go on this car. So I bought it myself. I bought the linkage myself, which I've linked to in the description box below, because there is also a video I've linked to as well, which was someone fixing it, and it was massively helpful. I've got to admit, that video has been a lifesaver, and it's probably saved me about £200 in terms of garage costs. And also I've linked to the tools that I've used as well, see if they're any help to you. In terms of other than that, I've had tyres, suspension has been the main issue with this car, and that's mainly been highlighted when it's been an MOT. So I've got to be honest with you, that's the main thing that tends to go on this car that I've had. But the state of the UK roads, you can understand why really. Our roads are full of potholes, so you can imagine, it will be a thing that you will notice go on your car. In terms of running costs, I've got to say, this car, it's been pretty cheap to own, aside from the repair that I've had the repairs I've had to carry out in this car. It's been pretty cheap really. I pay about just over 200 quid a year for insurance, road tax, and you got to remember, 200 quid a year, I've got over 10 years worth of no claims, so just bear that in mind. And I'm also at a certain age, and also it's postcode dependent as well, but it's been cheap. Car tax is 35 quid a year. Again, that is very cheap. Very cheap. And in terms of the fuel running costs, I am looking at about, I'm looking at my miles per gallon here. My average has been about high 40s, early 50s, and that is on a long run as well to Birmingham, which I do tend to do a couple of times a year, where I do about 300-400 miles in one day. And I've got to be honest with you, not the best. But I did read a comment that someone posted on a previous video of the Nissan Micra that I've done, where they've said that these cars are set up for efficiency, but they're also a little bit of performance as well, because driving these cars, I've got to admit, they're quite interesting to drive. They've got a bit of character about them. They're great for going around corners, acceleration as well, which I'll show you just here. Just get past this lorry, up to 70 miles an hour, as you can see, no problem at all. It's got a nice bit of acceleration, but yeah, it's not been the most frugal. I was expecting a bit more, but again, it's only got 5 gears. It's a small car. The gears might not be set up for you know, all the performance or the tuning might not be set up for what would be a frugal run. So yeah, it's okay. But other than that, I mean, it's been pretty easy to drive. As I say, it's got some character to it, but it's also got some nice, when you're on the motorway, it's quite stable, it's quite easy to manage on the road. And also, in terms of driving, when you are looking to park up and stuff, I've got to be honest with you, it's easy to park because you've got so much visibility, and obviously you can see where you are with the front lights. And I've got to be honest with you, it's been easy to live with on a day-to-day basis. And with that, it's been fine. The only thing I will say, comfort-wise, over 200 miles, 300-400 miles that I do in one day, say, yeah, you do know you've done that amount of mileage. So I would say, yeah, while it's, as you can see here, it's been, you know, it's going at speed, it's been quite smooth, easy to drive on a quick road. You will notice that you will notice over a certain amount of miles that you have done that amount of miles. So I would just say, just bear that in mind. But overall, I mean, driving it, there is some road noise, as you can hear, and hopefully you'll be able to hear my voice, because unfortunately my microphone's gone. But it has, it does intrude a little, but again, it doesn't weigh you down over an extended period of driving a car like this. So I've got to say, driving has been brilliant. In terms of overall what it's been like in the 10 years that I've had it, other than the things that have gone on it, which I've talked about, you know, the windscreen wipers, the boot lid, which was a pain, especially if you have a 3-door. But over the 5 years, how have I found driving or owning the Nissan Micra? Because of the cost of living and all that, I have kept hold of this car a lot longer than I normally would keep hold of a vehicle. But I've got to be honest with you, it has been a car that I've managed to just about run on, you know, limited budgets really. So yeah, it's been great. I've got to be honest with you, in terms of cost and running a car of this type at a certain cost, it's been good. It has been good. I mean, as I mentioned, things have gone on it, especially the suspension, which has been the main part of the cost of running this car. That hasn't been cheap, I've got to be honest with you. Well, one of them on an MOT being about 500 quid. Now that was not cheap at all. But overall, would I suggest that you own a Nissan Micra K12 variant? I would consider it if you are looking to buy a car of this type, of this age as well. Just remember, it's these cars are about, what would be 10, 12, well, they'll be 14, thinking about it, 14, 15, 16 years old. Yeah, have a look at them. Make sure you've got a bit of money aside just in case anything goes wrong. But I would say the same of any car that you may be able to own. But it's been a car I've lived with day to day. I've had no problems with it really. And if you are like a young couple or a learner driver or someone who's just passed their test, 3-door variant, great. You have no problem with it. You live with it day to day. But if you need to use the back seats more than probably twice, 3 times a week, I would go for a 5-door. And I've probably mentioned that in a load of the other videos I've done on this car. 5 doors king. But overall, you get a lot of tech with it. You get sat-nav, well, with the N-Tech version, sat-nav, steering wheel controls, aircon. I mean, aircon's been a godsend as well. Yeah, you get a lot of car for your money, really, and a lot of kit. So, yeah, I would probably consider the Nissan Micra. But if you are looking to own a car of this type, then I would say test drive it, see what you think, and see if it's a car you can live in, because it has got some quite distinctive styling, and obviously you do feel like you are in a goldfish bowl for the first couple of weeks. But once you get past that, I think you will see why a lot of people, especially people in like more senior years, do tend to keep hold of these cars. And I've got to say, as someone who's not far off senior years, I have kept this car for a lot longer than I would have kept any other kind of car that I've owned over the years, really. So I would, yeah, I'd give it a thumbs up, really. Just test drive one and see what you think. So I hope this video is of some use to you, and if it was, then please give it a thumbs up. It always helps the channel. You can see more videos from the We Trying to Think channel, then click on the subscription button below. And thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.